Men in their 60s attended the school decades ago and say its manicured gardens and winding paths hid a deep, dark secret.
It was beautiful, and it looked like driving onto any college campus in America.
Roger Kaiser was an orphan around 12 years old when he was sent to the Florida School for Boys at Marianna.
I thought nothing could be worse than the orphanage in Jacksonville, Florida, where I'd lived. But little did I know that I was jumping out of the fire into the frying pan.
He is still haunted by a building at the school called the White House, where he says students were beaten and abused.
This was a concrete and steel building. And when you walk in there, it is like a dungeon. They beat me so badly that when I came out of the White House and went to the main office, I was so bloody they couldn't tell who I was.
Now 63 years old, Kaiser formed a group called the White House Boys and revealed another hidden memory of the school's past, a cemetery.
It's deep, way back in the Florida woods, hidden far from public view, has been for years. You come up on 32 metal crosses stuck in the ground. No markers, no names, no nothing.
Kaiser says a deadly fire took some of the students, while others died from influenza, but he wants to know exactly who is buried there and how they died.
Justice always cries out for a conclusion.
Florida Governor Charlie Crist has called for an inquiry into the claims of the White House Boys.
If there's an opportunity to find out exactly what happened there, we have a duty to do so.
Where are the records? Why was there no names placed on these graves? They were just forgotten.
Joining us now for an exclusive interview are Roger Kaiser and Dick Cologne. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
What do you fear they will find in that grave, Dick?
We fear that they're going to find bodies, but even more so than that, we don't know how many bodies they will find in the graves. In some instances, we suspect there'll probably be 2, possibly 3, and then when they finish the autopsy, they're probably going to find crushed skulls and things of that nature. It's not going to be natural deaths and what have you. They're going to see the brutality that killed the kids.
How many boys were subjected to this? Are we talking about hundreds, thousands?
Oh, the school was open in early 1900, so it would be thousands. Easily.
Thousands of boys.
Easily.
Roger, what is the worst thing you ever saw in this building, in the White House?
I suppose the worst thing I ever saw was what I experienced, and that is when they finished beating me. When I came out of the building, I was so bloody, nobody could recognize me.
What was your crime, your offense?
I was supposed to have said a 4-letter word. How can I say it? Crap, meaning crap, when I slipped on the diving board.
A 4-letter word after you slipped and fell.
When I slipped on the diving board.
And you were beaten beyond recognition for that?
Yes.
And then this is how minor the infractions were that would merit these sorts of beatings, Dick?
Yes.
What's the worst thing you ever saw?
The beatings in the White House. I personally developed a way of getting beat. I went down 11 times, but the beater was, can I say a name? We called him Daddy Hatton. He was the beater, but he was so tall that the belt that hit us, which was 3/4 of an inch thick leather, that would hit you in the rump. He was so tall that it ticked the roof. So as the belt came around and you heard the tick, you were laying in bed with your face down. The pillow would have literally pieces of people's lips and tongue and blood and everything all on the pillow. You'd put your head and grab the bars, and you'd go, and then it would be, boom, and you just met hell.
Seems like you remember this so vividly, and it was decades ago.
And then and then tick, and then and boom, and God, when is this going to end? And you'd be yelling for God and your mother too at the same time, and then it'd come around and it'd be the tick. And then, boom,
This stays with you. This has been with you your whole life.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about the boys in the dryers, Roger.
I worked in the dry cleaners, and I heard a commotion outside, and when I went out, they were clearing the laundry, which didn't happen. Nobody ever stopped to work. And I said, what's going on? And they said, well, one of the boys got up into the instructor's face, and they had a couple boys put him in the tumble dryer.
They put a boy in
the dryer until he died. And I stood outside. Well, I went back inside because my instructor was pretty mad at me for sticking my head out the door, because you didn't even move in one direction or the other. You were considered out of bounds, and you would get beaten. They brought his body out, slid him on the sidewalk, going out to the ramp, and a black car came up, and they threw him in the back seat. He bounced off the back seat into the floorboard, and off they went, and that's the last time I ever seen him.
Let me ask you why it's taken you both so long to say something about this.
I have worked for 17 years. I've written a book about this. 17 years I've written about this. I've tried to get the media. I've tried to get the governor. Even when Jeb Bush was governor of Florida, I brought it to his attention. Nobody would listen because they thought it was so horrific that it was impossible that a Nazi concentration camp type ordeal could possibly be going on in the United States of America.
Well, Charlie Crist is listening now. He's placed a plaque at the site to sort of in honor of the victims. Is that enough for you, Dick?
Oh, no.
What do you want to see happen?
They have to have an oversight. They have to have a real oversight, an oversight with teeth in it. Legislators think just because they legislate a law, the damn problem's going to go away. It's ludicrous. So they don't put any enforcement component into the legislation. And so if that's not there, then the evil's going to continue. If someone doesn't come out of there handcuffed and go to jail, the evil's going to continue. It's, you know... I was part of the guys who wrote the letter to the governor. We got the governor there, you know, and I'm thinking to myself, Jesus Christ, if you get the governor there, you're going to fix it. And he leaves saying everything's okay. And you say, you know, what can we do? I mean, Christ, who else? The governor.
Right, maybe he'll do
maybe Jesus, if we were able to do something like that, possibly.
Right. Dick Cologne, Roger Kaiser, thanks for coming in and sharing your story.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.